Happy Little Landscapes back in the studio with you today. Welcome back to all you regulars and all you newcomers. Hey now, let's put some paint on our palettes, get our aprons out, and we're going to get ready to make a mess. So if you're ready to rock and roll, we're going to get started and we're going to do it just like this. Hey guys, it's Josh. Oh, my radio voice is super strong today. Every time I hear that intro, I just jump right into that radio DJ voice, right? Well, coming up on the request line, a bigger canvas with a desert landscape down at the bottom of the cliff, right? Coming up for you right after the break. This 24 by 30 inch canvas. It's looking fantastic. We're down at the bottom of this desert cliff. Got all these beautiful bushes, all this texture and color, and it's lovely. It's just really great. And you guys are obviously excited about painting it because you clicked on that link. So without any further ado, let's jump over. We're gonna see what colors we need and what kind of brushes we need to do a painting like this. And yours is gonna look spectacular, right? So, coming in from WCCC in New York, Las Vegas, or wherever you're from, here comes this painting, just like this. Blah! Alright, we've got two different color palettes today. We've got our Bob Ross colors, which are dark sienna, phthalo blue, alizarin crimson, midnight black, titanium white, bright red, and Indian yellow. Okay. And then we have our MagicFly paint set, which you can find amazon.com/shop/happylandscapeart. Okay, got the MagicFly colors, got the emerald green, the mid yellow, rose, lavender, magenta, pink, and violet. Violet, right? So we don't really know what we're going to do. I've got a little bit of an idea in my head, and we're just going to rock and roll with it and see what happens, right? So we always do a sunset sort of sky. I just did a couple blue sky ones. I mean, shoot. I love a colorful sunset, you know what I mean? So, every time I do a blue sky, I want to do like a wintry scene. All snow and blue and cold, right? So for this one, we're going to do one of our sunsets, alright? Right into our Indian yellow and bright red. And let's just make a decision, Joshy. And throw it up into here, right? Come back, need a fair amount of paint. We're painting on a big 24 by 30 inch canvas today, as you can tell, right? I'm not over mixing it, so I have all these different colors, right? I didn't say differences in color. We can't start counting yet. Okay, all these different colors, these reds, mixed with the yellow. It's gonna make this orange, but I don't want to over mix it. I want to have, a fair amount of each color in there before we start to sort of blend it out, right? Let's cover our edges, because you guys know me. We always cover the sides. Bam. Takes like 3 seconds. Cover your sides. Okay, we're going to bring some of this dark color down here. Because why not? It'll end up being some kind of something for something, right? Okay, you can tell we've primed our canvas with Bob Ross liquid white, and that's why all these oil colors are just blending so easily for us. It's mixing with that Bob Ross liquid white that's already on the canvas, right? Get that brush out of there. Okay, why don't we go into our crimson, and we'll take it and we'll just come down in this stripe of crimson. All right, again, we're gonna blend it all together. But in the meantime, I love this crimson with this orange that we made, and it'll go pink, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful little color. Put a little bit more in there. And this nice, pretty, beautiful, sort of dramatic sunset, right? That's what we want. A little bit more crimson in there. Now we come in with the black, a little bit of the blue. We're going to throw that up into the top. And depending on how dark your crimson is, you may have to make this bit at the top considerably darker. All right, it's going to mix in with that liquid white that we talked about. And it's going to blend, and it's going to do all that. So don't worry about it, man. I'm just going to take whatever's left on our brush in here. All right, just swipe it over from the bottom. And we can just sort of blend those back and forth together, and that'll just give us an idea on what we can do down here, right? Just give us a little idea about what we can do. Look at that sky. My goodness, put your sunglasses on to look at that one, guys. In my head, I'm always trying to think of the next thing, the next thing to say, where we're going with this painting, what are we doing? And then sometimes you look up and you're like, whoa, that's a lot of color. And just by not over mixing it, we've created all these cool, little striations and different colors back here that look like clouds on their own, right? But you guys know me. We're going to blend them out. I'm going to leave a few in there. But we're going to blend it out so it's nice and soft. You can't really tell where each color kind of starts and stops. And that's how Josh likes to paint a sky. I don't want to have any of these hard lines, these bits where you could clearly tell, that there's a stripe, right? So up there, and even into here, we're going to sort of blend that crimson color down. This is that pink I was telling you guys about. It's this beautiful pink color that it creates when you mix this orange with the crimson. Your red and your Indian yellow with your crimson. It just makes this gorgeous pink color. Look at that. We got this real bright area where we could throw a cloud over. Maybe think that's our sun back there. All right, we're going to come up here. And we're just going to bring some of that dark color as far down as we can get it. All right, we're going to blend those up. Blend them in so we can't really tell where the blue starts, where the pink starts. Man, these big canvases, they give you arm ache. My hand is like, it's going to fall off, you guys. All right, let's step in front here and we'll just kind of double check this purpleness. All right, get all these beautiful colors just in there, all mixing together. Having a hard time to telling where one color sort of stops and one sort of begins, right? We've got our red down here. Well, we've got this beautiful mixture of these lavenders and blues and purples and pinks all in there because we took the time to blend it out, right? We're going to switch to a clean Bob Ross brush, one that we haven't used yet today. We're just really going to go at this light area just a little. Just like that, right? And just sort of blend it out. There's no real hard lines anywhere. It's funny, like I paint with this glare on the canvas, so I can't really see all the colors until I look back at you guys and I can see the screen of the camera. And then I notice stuff that needs to be more blended or something wrong that I gotta fix, but I can't tell you guys there's something wrong, right? I gotta sort of fix it on the fly. That's the danger when you paint something brand new that you've never painted before in front of somebody, is trying to get that, that bit of nervousness, or if you make a mistake, to not let it really show, right? Don't let it show. That was part of that was just a happy little accident. It's all part of the deal, right? All right, we got our colors on that side. Let's finish the canvas over here. All these beautiful pinks and purples. Man, that's a pretty sky. You don't even really need to do anything with that sky. It's so nice. But we're going to make up some nice, kind of dramatic, stormy clouds, right? Just going to grab a little bit of that red, a little bit of the crimson, sort of mix them in together over here. And in our lighter area, maybe we'll throw like this bit of red cloud. All right, and this is just going to be the shadow for our cloud shape, okay? Let's get it to go off the canvas over here. Right? And you guys are like, Josh, what are you doing? Right? What in the heck is going on here? And then I'll just tell you guys to shush and watch. Shush and watch and learn, okay? We got all these really red spots in our lightest area, so they sort of stand out. And we're going to come in and backwards and forwards, counterclockwise, clockwise.
Counterclockwise, clockwise, just really blending those bits together. That's why we left those areas, so we could blend these bits together. And now we got this nice sort of red, blended out bit of puffy cloud that we can add some white to and highlight and do all that. Okay, we're going to come up, make some of our dark mixture up with our favorite colors here, the crimson, the black, and the blue. And if we really mix them up well enough, then we won't have to worry about going over those yellow areas and sort of turning them green, right? Because we've got this blue in here. So you really want to mix it up a lot. And some of the white, throw it in. You can see, you know, how far along you've mixed, if you have any blue left in there that you want to get rid of, right? Nice soft little lavendery, purpley clouds. And why don't we say there's one over here, right? Just sort of wraps around. Just sort of dropping the color on, right? Making a little shape, but nothing too nuts. I know I want to have another bigger cloud in here, so maybe this one lives underneath that guy. And you never know what it's going to look like when we paint with Josh, right? Never know. And we're going to mix that guy up again, clockwise, counterclockwise, go all over the place, however you like it. And just be careful that when you mix it, you don't mix him all the way away, right? Now we've got this little area sort of in between where it looks like these kind of wrap around maybe, and that's like a black hole in the center and everything's getting sucked down. Oh, there goes Josh with his space references again. We're not here to paint space this time, Josh. All right, all right. I'll keep my space references out of it. Okay, we've added a little bit of black and a little bit of crimson to this, our little purpley pile, just to make it a bit darker. And we'll see what happens. Maybe there's this ginormous bit of cloud that's just trying to live out here. A little bit darker than this one, right? So we stand out in front of there. And there's a bit up here. Never know. Maybe one cuts down in front of there. It sure does now. It does now, Joshy. Okay, again, we like painting dramatic scenes over here, okay? So we're going to come in, we're going to make our one cloud a little bit darker, right? Don't want to blend them out too much. We're going to go in clockwise, counterclockwise, all over the place, just making all these different colors, blending all these different things in with each other, right? Covering over a bit of our sunny area. And we've got these gigantic clouds. Gigantic clouds, right? Sort of covering over all of our sky. It just looks like this just ominous dark area back in here, right? Maybe throw one a little soft one over here. Never know what's gonna happen over here, or how far we're gonna come down. Maybe we need a little bit of cloud there. All right, we've got all these beautiful colored clouds, red, purple. Some bits are darker, some bits are lighter, right? And that's what we want. Really want to make them nice and soft with our circles. Nice, soft little differences in color. Right? Feels like my hand's going to fall off. All right, let's wash that brush off because we're going to need it. That's where I get my arm exercises in for the day. All right, let's take these, just to sort of flatten them down a bit. We're going to swipe over from the sides. Just flatten them down just a bit. There we go. Now that'll make it easier for us to go put our highlight colors on, right? So we're going to take that white, maybe get the littlest bit of yellow, see what that looks like with our Indian yellow and our white. And maybe we'll put that around this edge where the light is sort of brightest. All right, we're just making these shapes. Just making different shapes in the area that we think the clouds might look good in. To be honest, that's all. That's That's all we really do. Do you think it'll look good over here? Yeah, I think it will. Right? You see how I'm leaving these areas? Leaving areas of dark, leaving areas of light. Mixing them up, right? Not all of my areas need to touch, because when you start to blend them out, all these white areas are going to grow and sort of connect with each other. Right? And the white is going to try to disappear very quickly. So why don't we do these ones up here? I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, right? We're going to start to grab that white and just mix it, right? Just barely touch it. Because that white really wants to go fast. It wants to disappear and leave forever. Doesn't want to hang around. Right? It wants to blend in with all those other beautiful little purpley colors and everything that we put back there, right? Doesn't want to hang out. Wants to freaking blend away and go live with that. And go live with all those colors. Right? Mix them all up. Different shades of white and dark. Right? But if you mix them all the way, it will literally disappear. Okay? So just be gentle with it. Just be gentle. I'm sort of grabbing it with just the top corner of my 1-inch brush. Trying to anyway, just to kind of put it on an angle and then use the top corner. That's what we're trying to do back there. Okay, now we can take our clouds, sort of fluff them up, just sort of, again, just flattens them down. Flattens down that paint, right? Come to the side. Come to this side if you want. Just very lightly to the side, right? And now we've got all these just very soft, wickedly, shadowed bits of cloud back there, and they look awesome. Looks fantastic. I love it. You guys will love it too. Okay, a little bit of white. Let me come up in front of this guy with our bit of white, right? So we used a little bit more white there, just to kind of prove that he's in front, and that darker gray one's a little bit further back. All right, again, we're not using a ton of paint, but we do know the more and more we mix it, the more it's going to disappear, right? A little bit there, dragging that guy up. Dragging this guy down, maybe go back the other way. Come back down this way. And like so. And again, we can fluff our little cloud up just with the littlest bit though. Because you don't want to take and sort of mash all those cool things that our brush did on its own, right? Just sort of fluff it. Got another cloud over here. And one down here, but shoot, maybe this guy's a lot thicker and brighter as well. All right, make this shape, it comes down. This is, again, like I never know where, how many clouds we're going to have, where our forest is going to start until I start making these clouds. So I always come down a little bit further than you might need to. And then some of them might get covered, but we know they're back there, right? We painted them. We know they're back there. All right, bring that down, bring it over here. You can see how these white colors just want to stick together. Like you start blending them, and your white really starts blending away and picking in, starting to get closer with all the other ones, your other little piles. Right, so you gotta leave them some room to grow. There we go. Now I can't even see what that looks like because of the glare on the canvas, so hopefully it looks good. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment in the comments section before I look. Oh, now I've looked. What's it look like? That looks pretty cool. I like it. Okay, what I like to do is drop my palette knife, but more importantly what I like to do is go back with a little bit of blue. Just a little bit of blue in some of our shadowier areas. And that just gives us this deeper, darker bit of shadow that you'll be able to see. Plus, you'll have all these differences in color, guys, right? Am I always saying that? Ain't I always saying that, Miguel? Right, differences in color. And I have some shadows, some different colors, right? Which will make the shadows sort of stand out to the eye, and you won't have to look as hard to see those shadows. All right, mix it up, mix it up. A little bit of blue. All right, swipe it over. Now you've got one more little bit of color tucked away in your clouds, just giving it this more deep sort of feel, right? Especially over here. And if it's too, if it's too dark, you can continue to blend it away until, it's at the level where you're happy with it. Swipe over. Get the whole painting back and forth. Bam, now we got this really bright area mixed in with a bunch of clouds. And then you can always go back in if you see something, you're like, oh, these ones might be a little bit brighter because they're against all that sun, right? So let me take some white paint and make them a little bit brighter. Right, just barely touching it. Otherwise that white paint will want to disappear and leave you forever. Right, so even now I can see all my little brush strokes in it, right? We didn't really blend it out, and that's what this is for. You sort of flatten it down, and you get all these little details where you wouldn't have had them before. All right, now that I've seen that, it looks like maybe there would be a bit of light, or it might be brighter over here. And you can go down and lay down more white paint. And this could be a whole tutorial about how to paint a dramatic sky. We have to change our idea. Right? And just keep adding until you like the way that it looks. Okay, like even now I can see, now that we're making all these brighter, this guy might need to be a bit brighter. Right, in which case, again, just very lightly, leaving room for the paint to grow and move. And we can go back in and just sort of flatten down all those little brush strokes. Right, if you get one that comes out, you can always blend it away, or if they start to grow on you like that. Okay, looks really good. I like it. I like it. Since everywhere else got brighter and this guy got forgotten about, let's do him up here. And there's a bit of white, you never know. There's bright areas and dark areas all across these clouds. It's never just a white cloud. There we go, right? Just leaving spaces in between. So we can take our brush and flatten it down. Right? That's all we gotta do. Just literally making a mess. Making a mess. Yeah, that looks a little better. I like that. A little more dramatic, a little crazy. Because we're crazy up in here. That's what I love about the way that I paint too. Like, you'll be able to literally feel the clouds as well. Like, a blind person could feel your art. Can look at it and see it just from how thick that we paint. And you get all these cool little details that you couldn't get, take you hours and hours to try to get that. But yeah, it's looking good. How to paint a dramatic sky. Tutorial over. See you guys later. Catch you on the next one, right? Alright, if it were only that simple. Why don't we do... Let's make up some mountain over here. Can't decide if this is going to be like a sunsetty winter scene or a summer scene. Maybe we could have snow on the mountain even though it's a summer scene, but why don't we try to do like a crazy cool little mountain. Right? I'm trying to think about what it's going to look like, where I want my stuff to be. Maybe if we got a little bit of white paint, brighten this one up down here. We could have like this far off bit. This is always the toughest part, guys. Where are we gonna start our mountain? Which clouds are we gonna lose? How much of the sun are we gonna lose? I mean, we could do a giant one and cover all the stuff we just worked on. We could do all sorts of things. And that's the hard part. What do we do? What do we do? I'm trying to see it in my mind's eye. Trying to see it. Alright, why don't we come over like this, and we'll just start dropping down this long, sort of far off, forgotten bit of cliff. Alright, all we're doing is putting in these colors in various patterns, so when we blend out our cliff, it's going to have all these different colors, not just going to be the same color, right? And that will tell you where you can, put your highlights and stuff. And then we'll make the top. Why don't we do it right now? Let's make the top like this, right? It drops off a little bit. Maybe it comes up again. Maybe there's this bit over here. And again, we're starting to go away from us now, so let's pull it in that direction. And then we'll have another big bit of mountain that comes in front of that. Okay. Right, this is why we add all these crazy colors, right? Why it looks like total garbage. Like, oh, a 3-year-old painted that, right? I know, trust. Okay? We're going to come in, we're going to grab our paint, and just pull it out to the side. Okay? Make it nice and soft and blend it over here. This part does not matter. Right? Pull it down at this like 45-degree angle. So we have all these nice little cliffs. And you can tell where we've put these different colors, right? I'm going to finish it over here for our buyer. If you want to see what it looks like on the side, you're going to have to buy it. Okay? Throw those off in that direction. These long old cliffs, right? We're doing it in this sort of like this motion like this. So we're making a backwards J for Josh, right? And we're going to blend it all out down like this. Blendy, blendy, blendy pants. Come back with our 2-inch brush and just really make it soft down here. Really soft. Like we've got some fog over in this part of the painting, right? Very soft. You don't even need to finish it all the way, but just because we'll do it like that. And then every so often you can look at it, and you go back and look, and you're like, well, shoot, I should have left it like that. I mean, I could have gone all the way across. I could have done this, could have done that. So it's fun to, sort of halfway finish a scene, maybe change your mind and go a different direction, right? Let the canvas tell you what to do. Because that's how I paint. There's like this mark right here. So now we're going to have to make a little imperfection in our cliff, right? Throw it out to the side over there. It's probably going to be covered anyway, but just for my mind, got to do it. All right, we're going to find out here. We're going to take our blue color, mix it in with that purple color that we created this mountain with. Take our black, right? Throw in a little bit of white, just so we can see the color. It's still darker than what it is up here. And we're going to start throwing in our shadows, okay? We want to do this quickly. You want to pull down in a fast motion, and that'll give you, your little breaks. and stuff, right? All those different cool little pieces, how the paint breaks and you get all these details. You gotta do it fast. That's one of the tricks. Do it quickly. Okay. I have our breaks over here for the buyer. If you want to see what it will look like, you're gonna have to buy it, okay? Alright. Alright, get all these bits come out over there. And a lot of that might end up being covered. Okay, but we throw our shadows in first, and then we're going to come in and we're going to make up with a fair amount of brown. Since this will be a summer painting, we have all these beautiful colors, we might as well make it a summer painting, right? A little bit more white in there. Leaving them marbled so we get these different colors, right? Differences in the color, Joshua. And we'll come in, and again, we're just making these fast motions. That way we'll get these cool little breaks. Okay, maybe this guy off here, he just had a little bit on him. Get these cool little breaks if we go quickly. And you want to stay on top of your shadow areas, right? Get some of that deeper, darker brown now. And we come into here. And we can tell that the brown has changed color. And come up. What's cool is when you don't overblend your paint, you can go right over the top of those shadows and it will sort of change it into a different color that you might not have been expecting. And we'll come down this way, make it a bit darker with the black and the brown. And maybe this side there's a little ridge or something. Alright, I'm going to brighten that back up so we can tell the difference when we come across it, and it goes down like that. A little bit more of that white color, sort of fill in some of these spots. You don't want to force it though. Whatever sticks is going to stick. Whatever doesn't stick does not want to be there. So don't force it. Back in, throw a little bit of our darker shadow areas in there. These could be big rocks that never got covered. You know, they could be sticking up out of the thing. Sticking up so far out of the dirt that we have to notice them, right? Again, the more times you touch the canvas like this, the more times you're going to flatten all those breaks. Okay, so be gentle. Let me put some dark black down here. Maybe some of the black and blue together. And get this kind of shadow color down here. It comes up a little bit higher. It does whatever it wants. Step back, maybe we need a little bit of brown up here, tip top of our mountain, and who knows, maybe there's a little bit of white mixed in with that brown, just a little bit of brightness. You guys know me, you gotta come back in with my shadows. Just makes it look more realistic to me. If you get these real deep shadowy areas back in there. Real deep, dark, shadowy areas. We're going to pull some of this stuff out because it's going to turn into our fog. Gotta have shadows in the distance too. Shadows in the distance. I'm sure that's a song. Okay, we're going to bring down all this fog, okay? I'm going to mix all that up. That's what it's going to turn into, a bunch of fog. A little bit of white. Alright, that's how we paint with Josh. We just make a mess. It's literally all we do. And then you're amazed at the end. You're like, what the hell? How did that come out of that? That's a good looking mountain right there, guys. You know what we need though, just from looking at it? We need to separate this bit from that other piece, right? Just so there's a bit of shadowing in there. It looks like it's another little ridge since our mountain is going away from us. Right? We've got these dark areas every so often. They get further and further and further away until they don't appear anymore. Nice little dark bit of shadow up in there. A bit of that brown. Again, just don't force everything. Don't force it. Okay, still haven't washed our 2-inch brush. We're going to come over here and make a bunch of noise. Make that fog over here. And you can see I'm not sort of doing it on the same angle, right? We're coming up higher in some areas, down lower in other areas, just sort of leaving this room for mystery, right? And we'll have it come up over here. All these different colors in there, right? Got our fog even for the buyer. Okay, what I want to do, start making our circles just like we do the clouds. Right, making our circles, because you'll get these cool little things that you wouldn't even think to see on your own, right? Get all these cool little shadows and brighter areas and stuff like that all on its own. Okay, we're taking our 2-inch brush and just very lightly going about halfway up in the direction that we painted it, right? And our fog. Just like that. Now you can't tell where the mountain sort of sits. It's just kind of floating back there. Right? It's just sitting there floating on this bank of fog that we created. Look at that. That's going to be neat. That's going to be neat. Bring that other mountain in. Let's do that right now. Alright, we're going to create up another bit of mountain. Just sort of change up your color mixture. If you grabbed a lot of black, you know, on that last mountain, grab a lot of blue on this mountain. Just make it different. You don't want to do the same mixture of, even though it's the same colors, the mixture is going to be different, right? More blue, more crimson, more black, depending on what you did last time. And that way it'll be a different color. Oh, I just got an idea, you guys. I just had an idea. But no, we're not going to do that on this one. We bring in our old friend, old what's his name, into here. Right, I'm staying on the edge of that fog that we created. Right, staying on the fog. And that way, I don't think we'll need much more than that. Take our bit up here, make it a little bit different. We'll have to throw it on the side for the buyer. Fix that when we get over there. Alright. Let's take our 1-inch brush. And we'll come up and off the side, all for the buyer, which is not down that far. Okay. Come in, got our little humps and bumps and sharp areas, points, rounded spots, all sorts of stuff. Okay, we'll cut this bit of rock right in front of this other piece. And Then we'll just kind of throw it out down here like this and just fade it out, right? Just make a lot of mist down here at the bottom. Alright. Then we can come in, sort of soften up that area. Alright, never worry about what it looks like underneath. We can sort of soften up that area. We got this bit that comes down this way. I almost got lost in the fog back there. This side comes over here. You can see the area, it's much more kind of dark blue. And it didn't come out as far as I wanted. Maybe it comes out over there. There's a sharp bit to it. Who knows, maybe it comes up underneath too. There's another little piece, right? It is whatever we want it to be, people. Because we can do whatever we want to do in our world. Right? Bam. Now we're going to highlight this sucker. Put a little bit of yellow in the highlights on this guy. So it looks as though there's a bit of a drop off right here. It goes into another piece. Right? Doing our highlights on this one now. It comes down. We got a little bit of shadowing back in here. A little shadow up underneath. You never know. Never know till you try, so try. Try it. You might like it. You may end up liking it. Alright, a little bit of our shadowy area over here. I always like to have it nice and kind of shadowy at the bottom, a little bit dark. A little spooky, you don't know what's going on back there. Maybe the sun can't reach all the way back down to the base of this guy, right? We'll get a little bit off the top there. Just a little bit of color, but mainly shadows. Because this guy is behind, we can tell our sun is setting back there. And it's just barely giving this guy anything to work with. A little bit of brown down here, some darker brown. Just a different color, right guys? What does that guy Josh say all the time? Oh yeah, differences in color. How can you forget? Okay, couple little shiny bits at the top, a lot of shadowing. And that's what we want. A lot of deep, dark shadowing, sort of covering all those lit up areas. You can get that with your combination of your purple, your red, crimson, and blue. You could do it with black, you could do it with straight dark sienna. Totally up to you what you want to do. Okay, what we need to do now is come in and make our little foggy bits, right? Again, not doing it in a straight line. I want some areas higher, some areas lower. Off that way. Come in, make our little circular pattern. Right? And what this does is this makes this area soft so we can put something else down, right? It's not about having a spooky bit of fog down there. It's about creating a softer area where now we can lay, anything that we want right on top of here and it's going to stick. And that's what it's about. A little bit of shadow in there. It's a little too bright for me. Right, especially if we're back here. The sun's only really hitting on a few little bits. Sort of taking that on the edge. There we go. There we go, guys. Now the problem is, what the heck are we going to do? What in the heck are we gonna do? Looks like it's like a little bit of a wraparound down there. We might even be able to do a desert scene out of this. What do you guys think? Leave a comment. I'm gonna go take a break. You guys leave a comment and tell me what you want to do. Look at that. That is pretty. How can we go mess that up? Let's see. Don't mess it up, Josh. Don't. No, you do. Maybe we could add like a bit of like sand dunes or some kind of bit of something. Or we could throw some forest in there. These things almost connect. It just makes them look really neat to me. Like it's wrapping around. They sure do now, right? Just throwing a couple more bits of that shadow back in there. Not really going to mess us up too much. But just so we can tell that these pieces connect. Right, we'll go back in here. Yeah, I like that. Alright, let's take a break so we can get out some more brown. Alright, so I'm thinking maybe we can add one more little bit. One more little bit of a mountain. Maybe it comes in a little bit over there. And for this guy, I want him to come like straight down this bit of mountain. Alright, I want to have like this little cliff. So sort of staying inside those foggy areas, right? Because we want to have that little bit of distance in between. And I understand it might be difficult, you know, on some of your areas, but just try to leave that little bit of fog in between. This guy's going to come down like this. This is going to be perfect. And it's going to come down, and it's going to turn to the side. Just giving myself a little bit of look at what's going to happen here. Maybe we come down like this. And there's another little drop off up here. And we got our mountains back in here. Alright, now we got this much darker color, a little bit of a cliff, right? A little bit of cliff, and then we'll go back and we'll highlight that, and I'll show you what the meaning of all this is, right? So we're going to come in, and it's all about your angles. Alright, so maybe over here now we're coming straight down from the edge of our cliff. It's all about your angle, which you can play with before you even put your highlights on. You can get your angle all situated just from the brush strokes on your canvas. I'm trying to talk to you guys and think about what the heck I'm going to do next. Right. This guy comes down a bit further over here. Maybe we'll throw a darker one up in the front. And again, we're going to come in, and I need to fog this area up. It's all about fogging when you work with Josh. Fog hat. And again, we haven't washed our brush, so we have this different color fog, right? It's all, you know, all the colors that we've been using today. All these colors. Alright, we're going to come back in. Let's take a bit of that same kind of shadowy dark color, and we'll come in and just start making these like crazy. And it might be hard to see because it's the same color as the mountain itself. And then once we put our our highlight colors on, then they'll really shine out. It'll shine through. And this side, maybe there's a bit over here. We got these bits of shadow, right? Like little spires of rock. And then we're going to come in and I'm going to get my dark sienna paint, a little bit of the white, and a little bit of our yellow ochre, which we added to the mix. And I love brown with yellow ochre. It just makes this really neat, different brown color. Alright, so maybe there's a bit over there. And another little sharp edge, and then we'll come down, making these, following our tracks, following how we wanted to get that highlight down, just over the top of our shadows, right? Put your shadows in one place, put your highlights right next to it. Just remember, you got to leave some shadowy dark area in between your highlights. That's what you got to do. Maybe it comes over here. I'm going to put some of that yellow color down in our fog so we can fog it right up. I actually like this color so much I might use a little bit of it up here. Like it kind of hit the little peaks of this. Even there's areas in there that are more lit up than others are. Look at that. Sure, we can even use it back here if we wanted to. Use this stuff everywhere. I love that yellow in there. It just gives it just such a cool, different color, right? Now we'll come over here. This guy went like that. But I want a bit of dark line in between. In between there, I want a bit of dark line because I want to have, I want to have my highlight color on the top. Just to keep these two mountains sort of separate from each other. And go across like that. Like there's a little flat shelf sitting right there. And everything underneath is going to be a bit darker. And we'll take a couple little bits and just sort of throw them in there just so we can see the little bit of the mountain. But they're darker, they don't stand out as much as the the top or this side over here. There we go, a little flat spot to that mountain top up there, which of course needs its own little bits of shadows. Right, if we're going to have this little bit up here, we got to have some shadows with it. Okay, we're going to come over on this side, throw in a couple shadows. And the top of this guy you can see too. Maybe it comes down like that, and then there's a little drop off. Who knows? Do whatever you want. Take some of that, and again, remember to leave a bit of dark in between your highlights and your shadows, okay? Leave a bit of darkness in there. And take a little bit more of that yellowy, brownish color, and we're going to sort of fog up our area with that. Okay. Area where it's sort of flat back there. All right, then we have our little bits that come down this way, and then we'll take and just sort of mix it up. Just those little bits of yellow that we hid inside of our fog, along with all the other colors that are on the brush, give us something nice and cool to look at. Right? Get all those little different darks and lights in there. And then it really starts to look like fog. Make sure we don't have any hard straight lines. Right? Starting to come together pretty good. I might just continue to do this little mountain, theatrical sort of deal. That looks really neat. It's really neat. I do over here need to have some darker shadows. You can always go back in. Always go back in and cover them up. You just want to leave that little bit of lighter area down there, right? You can add whatever sort of details you want. Just leave this little area of light down around the bottom. And that way it makes it look like it's a little bit further away. Maybe there's some fog rolling in through there, right? All right, now we're going to mess around with our little mini scene here. That's what I love about this big 24 by 30 inch canvas. You have, one scene, two scenes, three scenes if you wanted to. You know what I mean? Totally up to you what you want to do. Like I was saying, totally up to you what you want to do when you're creating your little scenes, right? So for me down here, throw a little bit of dark down underneath that thing too. Let's see, guys. What should we do? What should we do? We should really change all this white color. There we go. Alright. I have no idea what we should do. No clue. Not a single clue what we should be doing here. So let's take a step back and we're going to have a look at it. Back here with you guys. Alright guys, I am a little stumped at what we're going to do, but we're going to try something here. I'm going to mix up all of our dark colors, our browns, red, crimson, black, blue, mix them all up. So we get this dark sort of purpley color. I even threw some white in there just so it wasn't too dark. I'm going to grab some of that, and let's just say that there's maybe some land in here. And maybe something will kind of show itself to us if we, are paying attention, right? Maybe we'll be able to see something in the paint, something in the brush strokes that's going to tell us maybe this was land. Where does the land start? Where does it stop? Maybe we'll be able to find something that the canvas is telling us, right? Let's see. Alright, so just from doing that, we can sort of see that we've got a little bit of land we could play with. We could do all sorts of things. What do we feel like doing is the question. What do we feel like? Maybe we could do like a cliff or a big crack in the earth. Let me try that. We've never tried that before. So let's try. Let's try, see what it looks like. We can always blend it out if we don't like it, right? Waste more of your guys' time. Where are we at, 104 minutes? 104 minutes. Shoot this guy. An hour and 4 minutes? That's not that bad. All right, so just from this dark color down here, right? I'm thinking maybe there's a crack in the earth, right? So we need to decide where our crack sort of lives and how in the devil we're going to paint it, since we've never done this before. Right, sort of trying to cut it in like water, and then we're going to break it down a little bit. We want it to be nice and dark. Obviously thinner as we go away from us, right? But over here, we want it to be like falling away from us. So, and then we're going to mess about with this. We're going to change the way of the land and everything. Just kind of playing, seeing what it might look like. And then if it looks awesome, you guys can recreate it. With that little bit of dark line, like there's a bit of land poking out right there. And then maybe it gets smaller and smaller. And smaller. I haven't seen anyone do this. So we will see if it's worth it, right? Alright, don't worry about the length of the other bits or how long they are. Obviously thicker in the front down here and thinner towards the edges, but we'll be able to play with that. We'll be able to play with that. Why don't we get some sort of desert land going back here? Maybe there's a couple bushes. There's a couple bushes that live back there among the mist, right? Not too many, not too crazy. Maybe these ones are a little bit different color. Maybe a little closer. And these could be giant bushes, you know what I mean? We don't know. We don't know till we paint them, right? We're going to grab a little bit of that in different places and just sort of drag it out to the side. Nothing too crazy. All right, these guys, pull a little bit closer. So we've got like this little bit of sand maybe that comes down. You know what we need over here? A little bit bigger of a bush right there. There we go. That doesn't look too bad. Right on the edge of this abyss. This abyss over here. And this will give us a cool place to put all of our little highlight colors from our MagicFly set, yeah? Ooh, that looks kind of neat. We're going to have to come across, figure out what we're going to do with the land. The land comes out. I'll have to figure it out. Figure it out as we go. Why did I just do that? There we are. Okay. Why don't we get, this might actually turn into one of the intermediate painting videos. And just based on the time that we've been going. Alright, take a little bit of our dark color. A little bit of difference of both of our dark colors, right? Over here we're going to have to come out is my guess. Or maybe it comes down from our fog this way. It all depends on which angle. We're going to fog that up, so don't worry about that. All depends on your angle, though, when you're coming in. Whatever your knife does is what your painting's going to look like. Imagine that. Whatever you do, that's how it's going to look. Yeah, we know, Josh. Thanks. Okay, get our little bits of shadows down here. Right next to this giant crack. Giant crack, he said. He said giant crack. Alright, just throwing some of our yellow, red, crimson. Throwing some of these bits on there. And that way it will give us a little bit of color. Then we can come back and highlight all those bushes and stuff too. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we can do with that. All right, and there's a big boulder over here we can put in. All right, just trying to swipe a little bit on our land that we put in. And I'm going to come back in. You guys know me. We're going to drop our shadows on. I want to have that little bit of color in there. It's kind of bouncing through. Remember, the sun is real far away, so we're going to have to throw in some shadows down here, guys. Got our rock over here. Make these pretty much straight across. I'm just going back and forth now, shadows into our highlights, just so we can get a different little bit of color on this ground. And there's a bit of yellow ochre every so often. Nice and thick and textured. Alright. Maybe that yellow ochre comes in right where we need it to, on the edge. This dang canvas, let me tell you. Come in right onto the edge of that sucker. You guys know me, when we start thinking, we stop talking, right? Something we're trying to fix, but what I'm doing now is just putting in a little bit of, a couple little rocks and stuff. Just different little colors. Right, little textured areas that look like rock. Right, different little chunks. Different things to look at. And we'll come back with our yellow ochre, and we're going to highlight some of these rocks. There. Doesn't look too bad. For making it all up on the spot, right? Doesn't look too bad. Let me look. You know what? Maybe this whole thing. Maybe this whole thing down here is like a ledge, right? So let me come a little bit further down. I'm just putting on a whole lot of paint right now. Trying to make it dark. Just going to come straight down like that. Right, now we got this little bit. Sort of cut it in there like we do with the knife when we're making that water. Now we've got our little deserty land over here. A little bit of shelf. Even take another bit of rock, put it out here in the front. Highlight this sucker. Okay, we'll do one more big bush over here since we only have a few of these colors left. Right, this big old canvas. I'm going to get all of our dark colors up. Look at that. Every bit of dark color. Okay, I'm going to mush it until it looks the same. Mush it until it looks the same. And then we're going to come back in with all of our highlight colors and just nail those bushes. Okay? Okay, taking our Bob Ross small foliage brush, really dabbing it into the paint so we get a whole lot of paint on here. And then maybe out of this side, all my easels all over the place. Get this really big, thick bit of bush. I'm talking about a lot of paint, right? Super thick bit of bush down here. And I want it to go all the way to the bottom. Right, we're going to have to do this since it wants to move in my easel. Hello. That's okay. That is okie dokie. Right? One more little bit of color up inside of our clouds. Whew, that was scary, folks. Alright, let's take the time to do this here. Get over here. Alright, I need it out on the edge so I can get the bottom real dark. I want it real dark, real sticky and textured. Right? Bunch of big bits of bush that come out. And then we can go back in and highlight. So we're going to take a minute, we're going to wash all these brushes off. What I want to do before we get too far ahead of ourselves is maybe drag just a little bit of this dark color as our ground on this side, right? Over here doesn't matter much. Let's see. A little bit of that highlight over here now. There we go. Now, let's come back and see if we can't bring this guy across. Right now it looks like we got a bit of dark back there. A little crack in the ground. Should have done it first, but we didn't, like usual. Alright, let's take a step back. Look at that sucker. Let's see. Make these a little bit taller back here. A little bit dark down around the bottom. Fix our dirt. Alright, now I want this one nice and clean so we can highlight those suckers. Okay, now these MagicFly paints that we have, right, on our clear palette, makes them sort of hard to see. These MagicFly paints are very wet, if that makes any sense. They're not as dry and hard as the Bob Ross colors are. So, all you need to do is just sort of touch, and it'll, whatever sticks will stick, whatever doesn't will not, obviously. But whatever sticks in there, you can just have a party with, right? Let's get some of our bright pink. We don't want to cover up all of the colors either, right? We don't want to. We want to have these differences, all these different little bits. Right? Put some of that rose or the magenta in with that pink. Maybe come back over and just touch ever so lightly. Right? We get all these different colors of bush back there. Right? We're going to do the rose on this one. Do the rose over on this guy. And this nice sort of dark pinkish color. Maybe come back in with our pink underneath. But again, we're not going to cover up everything, right? Let's get that yellow and green together. That's why we put them together like that. And you get all these cool different colors, right? The green, the yellow all together with itself. You get these differences in color. And that's what it's about. If you want people to buy your work, you gotta have different colored stuff in there, man. Lots of different colored stuff. So give them something to look at. That's what I always say. Give them something to look at and go, dang, like look what they did with that. I wonder how they got those colors like that, or this or that or whatever. But give them something to look at. I've gone in with my yellow ochre and liquid white, and again we're just going to come up and just touch in different places on this bush. Right, sort of indicating where you think these lighter areas would be. Okay, then we'll come back in. Maybe there's a bit. I don't really use the liquid white when I'm using these MagicFly colors, just because they're so much lighter. Right? Maybe there's a bit of purple up in that bush. Shoot, maybe there's a bit down here at the end. You don't know until you do it. So try it out. Bit of pink come down through here. Again, we're leaving dark areas, light areas. We're not trying to cover, you know, the whole smash. Don't want the whole thing to be covered. Right? So we're leaving these little areas of light and dark in different places. It's mixing in with these other colors. It's doing a lot. Okay, we're going to go in with this into our rose color, maybe into a little bit of the magenta. Just sort of bouncing this brush down in here. Right, making these different colors. A little bit of the pink out in the front. Totally up to you what you want to do. A little bit of that darker purple back in there. Now the more, because this is so thick, the more and more you dab at it, the more mud we're going to make. What's it look like? Looks pretty good. The more mud we're going to make, so be careful. Just making all these beautiful colors just by sort of touching it, right? We're not really pushing at it hard. We're not trying to make the shape because we've already made the shape. We just want to touch it. Some of that yellow back here. Alright, just have all these beautiful colors. Bits of orange, bits of red, all these things everywhere. There we go. Now we've got this wicked little bit back there where everything lives. Used all of our colors. Didn't use too many brushes for this one, but it is what it is. You don't need all the brushes in order to create a painting. We can tell you that now. Just want to make this last bit here just different from the little shelf. Differences in color, guys. That's all we're really going for. Okay, we're going to come back in here. We're going to scrape in some of these little sticks and twigs holding all this stuff up. Alright, I go for the darker areas. And you can come up a little bit, like there's 2 different layers. Maybe that guy comes out of that bush. Never know. Alright, over here we'll come in. Some nice, real thick, big ones. You can see how we're pulling the paint away. Right, really digging it off and getting it on our knife, right? That's how big you want to scrape these suckers in. Alright, besides that, it looks really good. Looks really good. Just want to give a little bit of darker illusion down here. A little darker bit. Trying to scrape up all the last bit of dark that I have on my palette here. There we go. Just trying to cut in some details is all I'm really doing. Just making a mess down here, really. When you think about it, that's all we're really doing is making a mess. Okay. Alright guys, well we did it. What's it look like? Let's see. Let's see. Makes it hard with the glare. Let's see from back here. It looks really good. Looks really good. Just unsure of this bit down here. Just unsure of it, and we're totally out of paint. But we're going to call it a day, guys. I like it. I mean, you could say it's really muddy water. You could say it's more dirt from down below. You could say whatever you want. All right. Well, guys, we did it. This 24 by 30 inch canvas. Beautiful sky with all these crazy mountains, like we're just sunk down at the very bottom of this canyon down here. We have all these beautiful colored bushes, flowers and sticks and twigs and all sorts of stuff, and it just really came out fantastic. So thank you guys for sticking with me. You can catch it on my Facebook page, facebook.com/shop facebook.com/happylandscapeart. You can go to my Amazon influencer account where you can buy all of the things you see here, right? The canvas, the easel, the micro fan brushes, Bob Ross paint, you know, Winsor & Newton, Gamblin 1980. Everything that one would need in order to paint, I have right at my Amazon shop. You can check the description down below in my Amazon influencer link, okay? You guys can also buy paintings like this, or any of the ones you see, or any of the ones that I've ever done. They're all for sale on my Etsy shop, etsy.com/shop/happylandscapeart. Check that out. And you can find literally everything. Go to happylittlelandscapes.com, and that's the big website you can find everything from, okay? Again, I'm glad you guys stuck with us. Thank you. I pointed to you, sir, you, ma'am. Does yours look like this? Does yours look like that? It should, if you followed along, right? Okay, well, thanks, guys. Love you guys, and we're going to see you on the next painting, which is probably going to be on Sunday. We're live on Sunday, so come and hang out and have a great time and learn, you know, maybe a technique you didn't know, or how to get something to do a certain something, and you can come learn that from us. So, again, love you. Take care. We're going to see you guys in the next painting, and you know how we like to end it. Bow!